Isabel dos Santos was once a symbol of African success. She was the richest woman on the continent, a billionaire with investments spanning the globe. Her father, José Eduardo dos Santos, ruled Angola for almost 40 years. This is the story of how she built her fortune and how it all came crashing down. Isabel dos Santos was born into privilege. She was educated at exclusive schools in Europe. Her father's position gave her access to opportunities few could imagine. But her rise was not just about family connections. She was a shrewd businesswoman, building a vast business empire. This is also a story of corruption and greed. The Luanda leaks, a trove of leaked documents, exposed the dark underbelly of her wealth. They revealed how she allegedly used her father's influence to enrich herself at the expense of the Angolan people. Isabel dos Santos returned to Angola in the mid-1990s. She was in her early 20s, armed with a prestigious degree and a network of powerful contacts. Angola was emerging from a long and brutal civil war. The country was rich in oil and diamonds, but its economy was in shambles. Isabel saw an opportunity to build her own fortune. She started small, investing in a bakery and a garbage collection company. But her ambitions soon grew. She moved into telecommunications, acquiring a stake in Unitel, Angola's leading mobile phone operator. This investment would prove to be extremely lucrative. Over the next 2 decades, Isabel's business empire expanded rapidly. She diversified her holdings, investing in banking, energy, cement, and diamonds. She acquired stakes in Portuguese companies, including media giant Zon Multimedia and Banco BPI, one of Portugal's largest banks. By 2013, Forbes magazine had declared her Africa's first female billionaire. In January 2020, the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists, or ICIJ, published the Luanda leaks. This groundbreaking investigation was the result of months of meticulous work by journalists from around the world. This was a trove of more than 700,000 documents, including emails, contracts, and audits. These documents provided an unprecedented look into the financial dealings of one of Africa's wealthiest women. The leaks exposed the inner workings of Isabel dos Santos's business empire and raised serious questions about the source of her wealth. The documents revealed how she amassed her fortune through a network of companies and political connections. The Luanda leaks revealed a complex web of shell companies and offshore accounts. These entities were used to move money across borders and hide the true ownership of assets. They showed how Isabel dos Santos and her associates allegedly used their political connections to secure lucrative contracts from the Angolan government. These contracts were often awarded without competitive bidding, raising concerns about corruption and favoritism. They also documented how money was allegedly siphoned out of Angola and into tax havens. This money was then used to purchase luxury properties and other high-value assets around the world. The ICIJ investigation painted a damning picture of Isabel dos Santos. It showed how she allegedly exploited her position and connections to enrich herself, while the majority of Angolans lived in poverty. It alleged that she had enriched herself at the expense of the Angolan people. The revelations sparked outrage and led to calls for greater transparency and accountability in Angola. It claimed that her fortune was built not on business acumen, but on corruption and nepotism. The luxurious lifestyle she led was in stark contrast to the hardships faced by ordinary Angolans. The Luanda leaks sent shockwaves through Angola and beyond. The investigation not only highlighted the issue of corruption in Angola but also underscored the importance of investigative journalism in holding powerful individuals accountable. Section 5. A web of allegations: corruption on a grand scale. The Luanda leaks detailed a series of questionable deals involving Isabel dos Santos and the Angolan government. These revelations sent shockwaves through the international community, highlighting the extent of corruption in Angola. One example involved Sonangol, Angola's state-owned oil company. This company, which is a major player in the global oil market, became a focal point of the allegations. Isabel dos Santos was appointed head of Sonangol in 2016 by her father, who was then still president of Angola. Her appointment raised eyebrows due to the apparent conflict of interest. The ICIJ alleged that during her time at Sonangol, Isabel dos Santos authorized suspicious payments to companies linked to her and her associates. These payments were often disguised as consultancy fees or service charges. One such payment, totaling $58 million, was allegedly made to a Dubai-based consultancy firm shortly after she left the company. This raised questions about the legitimacy of the consultancy services provided. Another deal involved Sodiam, Angola's state-owned diamond trading company. Diamonds, being one of Angola's most valuable resources, were at the center of this controversy. The Luanda leaks revealed how Isabel dos Santos allegedly used her influence to secure a favorable deal for a company she secretly co-owned. This deal was structured in a way that obscured her involvement. This deal, according to the ICIJ, cost the Angolan government millions of dollars. The financial impact on the country's economy was significant, contributing to widespread poverty and inequality. These are just two examples of the many allegations of corruption leveled against Isabel dos Santos in the wake of the Luanda leaks. The public outcry in Angola was immense, with many demanding justice and accountability. The documents painted a picture of a system designed to enrich her and her associates, often at the expense of the Angolan people. The stark contrast between the opulent lifestyles of the elite and the dire conditions of the average citizen became a symbol of the corruption plaguing the nation. Section 6. The world responds, sanctions and asset freezes. The Luanda leaks triggered a swift and decisive response from international authorities. In December 2019, even before the leaks were published, Angola's Attorney General froze Isabel dos Santos's assets in the country. This was followed by a series of sanctions and asset freezes imposed by other countries. In 2020, the United States imposed sanctions on Isabel dos Santos, barring her from entering the country. The U.S. Treasury Department accused her of engaging in significant corruption by misappropriating public funds for her personal benefit. The European Union followed suit in 2021, imposing sanctions on Isabel dos Santos and several of her associates. The UK also froze her assets, accusing her of benefiting from illicit finance involving Angolan state assets. These actions delivered a significant blow to Isabel dos Santos's business empire and reputation. Section 7. Exile and Denial, a life upended. Since the Luanda leaks, Isabel dos Santos's life has been turned upside down. She has denied all allegations of wrongdoing, claiming that she is the victim of a politically motivated witch hunt orchestrated by the current Angolan government. She has lived in exile, spending time in Dubai, Portugal, and the UK. However, her movements have been restricted by an Interpol Red Notice, issued at the request of the Angolan government. This notice alerts law enforcement agencies worldwide that she is wanted for questioning in connection with the corruption allegations. Despite the mounting legal pressure and her diminished fortune, Isabel dos Santos has remained defiant. She continues to maintain her innocence, using social media and interviews to present her side of the story and denounce the accusations as baseless. Section 8. Shifting sands of fortune no longer Africa's richest. The Luanda leaks and the subsequent legal actions have had a profound impact on Isabel dos Santos's fortune. She is no longer recognized as Africa's richest woman. Her net worth, once estimated at billions of dollars, has plummeted. Forbes removed her from its billionaire list in 2021. Other African businesswomen, such as Nigeria's Folorunsho Alakija and Kenya's Engina Kenyatta, have surpassed her in wealth. While their fortunes are also substantial, their stories differ significantly from that of Isabel dos Santos. They represent a new generation of African entrepreneurs who have built their wealth through legitimate business ventures. The decline of Isabel dos Santos's fortune serves as a stark reminder of the fleeting nature of wealth built on shaky foundations. It also highlights the growing scrutiny of ill-gotten gains and the global effort to combat corruption and illicit financial flows. Section 9. A legacy tarnished, the price of power. Isabel dos Santos's story is a cautionary tale of wealth, power, and corruption. Born into privilege as the daughter of Angola's former president, she leveraged her connections to amass a vast fortune. She was once hailed as a symbol of African success, a self-made billionaire who had defied the odds. Her ventures spanned telecommunications, banking, and energy, making her one of the richest women in Africa. However, the Luanda leaks exposed the dark side of her empire, revealing a legacy tarnished by allegations of greed and abuse of power. Investigations uncovered a complex web of financial schemes that funneled state funds into her personal accounts. The impact of her alleged actions extends far beyond her personal fortune. The siphoning of public resources meant that essential services like healthcare, education, and infrastructure development were severely underfunded. The Angolan people, many of whom live in poverty, were deprived of much-needed resources. This disparity has only widened the gap between the wealthy elite and the struggling masses. The scandal also undermined trust in the Angolan government and eroded confidence in the country's economy. Public outrage led to protests and calls for greater accountability and reform. Isabel dos Santos's case serves as a reminder that true progress cannot be built on corruption and inequality. It highlights the importance of ethical leadership and the need for systemic change. It underscores the need for transparency, accountability, and good governance. Only through these principles can a nation hope to achieve sustainable development and social justice. Ultimately, her story is a tragedy for Angola, for Africa, and for anyone who believes in the power of opportunity and the importance of ethical leadership. It serves as a stark warning of the consequences when power is misused and the public trust is betrayed.